special podcast presentation from 700WLW.com. This is Thompson on Demand.
Very troubling to me. No, here I am. I'm trying to do something good. I'm trying to save the planet. I'm trying to keep the planet just as it is. I'm trying to save it by offsetting the offsets of the greenies, keeping it just how it is, because if they get all of their carbon offsets and we change the amount of carbon, what's going to happen? It's going to bring about climate change. Let's keep it right where it is. I'm out there trying to save the planet, and I get emails attacking me, saying, how dare I? How dare I save the planet? That hurts me a little bit. I'm wounded. I'm a little bit wounded. What do plants need to survive, among other things? Carbon dioxide. If we offset the amount of carbon dioxide, and it's been ruled a pollutant now by the EPA, plants are going to suffer. Do you want to see plants suffer? I don't want to see them suffer. Not unnecessarily. I like plants. They make my yard look nice. I even like to eat them now and then. I got some in my office that make it smell quite nice. I like plants. They serve a function in my life. I'm trying to save the planet and save the plants. Offsetting the offsets of the nuts. What they're doing is, by getting rid of all that carbon dioxide, they are plant killers. Do you really want a species war? A species war between the animals and the plants? That's really what they're saying. Their species exists. Yeah, they're saying animals are better than plants. I think that they should be more accepting of the plants, more tolerant, and stop trying to kill them. Support the plants. I do. A balance. Animals and plants living together in harmony. They just want to kill the plants. I'm trying to save the plants, saying that they have a place in this world too. All species are created equal. I am diverse in my thinking. Hence the reason I want a carbon party to help out those plants. I hope you will join us on the 12th of June. Details coming up. But don't forget, if you have any ideas, you can email them to me anytime, doc@700WLW.com. In the next week or so, we'll try to come up with some other ideas. Someone just sent me a brilliant one. Said, Doc, why don't you have a car show? Classic car show. Yeah, cars back in the day, they weren't green friendly. They created all kinds of carbon. And I love the classic cars. Oh, the 65 Mustang, the T-Birds back in the 50s, Stingray Vets. Oh, yeah. I think we should have a car. I'm going to see if we can put that together. Let's see if we can get it done. I would hope, though, if we do a car show, that they keep the cars running the entire time. Well, you're driving them out there, but we really have a goal to create as much carbon as possible. So while they're sitting, the whole time we're looking at them. I think that's the way to go. Quick call in here. Jason on a cell phone. You're on 700 WLW.
You're killing me, Doc. How are you?
I'm doing fine, sir. Would you come out to a carbon party? Would you join me out there to save the plants?
I will host the carbon party. Actually, I'm having a small carbon party myself right now, driving my semi up and down the highway, chugging black smoke.
I appreciate that. It's a party of one, but that's where it starts, Jason.
I am saving the plants with you, Doc.
Thank you, sir.
I'm trying to keep them alive.
I appreciate you. I salute you for your efforts.
But the reason I called, Doc, I know how much you love your little curly Q CFL light bulb.
Yeah, the fluorescence, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Somewhere on the satellite, I was listening to the radio this morning, and there's a scientific study out now to where you're not supposed to get close to those lights because of the harmful radiation coming off of them.
Yep, harmful radiation, and if you should ever break one of those things.
Oh, Lord, you got to call the EPA.
Yeah, I mean, hazmat suits, it's mercury and lead and everything else.
Yep, that's how good they are for the environment.
That's it.
You got to have hazmat to get rid of them.
So not only are they bad for plants because they cut down on carbon, it looks like they're also bad for animals.
Yeah, especially, if you're trying to, per se, read a book.
Yep.
Or, how about if you want to see in your kitchen so you don't stumble over the dog.
Yeah, I think they're actually bad for eyes because it hurts my eyes when I'm doing it. So now you're attacking the eyesight of the animals who try to use them as well. Well, sir, thank you so much for your call, and thank you so much for all you're doing. I appreciate your support of plants and diversity among species, because that's what it's about. Being diverse in this world. Caring about your fellow species. I applaud your efforts. I will gladly stand with you and save the plants. And save the planet. There's a ruling out of Indiana. This is a troubling ruling from the Indiana Supreme Court. They made a ruling last week that says Hoosiers have no right to resist unlawful police entry into their homes. Police want to come into your home essentially for any reason they can. This is different from the probable cause. The probable cause is a tricky one. I am a staunch defender of a man's castle and our freedoms, but I understand probable cause. I mean, people make a solid argument with probable cause. It's definitely a gray area we can debate all day long. Probable cause. Probably necessary on some levels. But where do you draw the line? I think the term probable cause sums it up quite nicely. They have a reason to believe that something is going on, something imminent, and they need to take care of it immediately. Something that can't wait. Almost an emergency. That is not what the Supreme Court ruled in Indiana. It was a 3-2 decision. The court said if a police officer wants to enter your home in Indiana for any reason, or no reason at all, a homeowner cannot do anything to block the officer's entry. In Indiana, the Supreme Court just ruled, if for any reason or no reason at all, a police officer wants to enter your home, they're allowed to enter your home. How do you feel about that? I know Jim Scott, who frequently gets visits from police officers to his home in the middle of the night, things going on. He's got all that land. I don't know what he's growing out there. He frequently gets visits from police officers, hydroponics and whatnot in the basement. Anyway, he can no longer block them. Even if they don't have probable cause about the hydroponics and stuff, they can just walk into his home. According to Justice Stephen David, he said, "We believe a right to resist an unlawful police entry into a home is against public policy and is incompatible with modern Fourth Amendment jurisprudence." Modern Fourth Amendment? Modern? Translation, we can do whatever we want now. Constitution, I guess, is a living thing, and it changes depending upon what a justice deems it means or what society needs now. He said, we also found that allowing resistance unnecessarily escalates the level of violence. So if they allow you to resist a police officer because he has no warrant, no reason to enter your home, it just escalates the violence. You should just be subservient to the police officers, to the man. Your castle is no longer sacred. It's no longer a sanctuary. He said, therefore, the risk of injuries to all party involved without preventing arrest. So you should just suck it up so it doesn't get violent, and then it'll be sorted out in the end. If a police officer comes in, you may be arrested, but then it'll come out that you shouldn't have been arrested and it's okay. That's essentially what happened. David said a person arrested following an unlawful entry by police. A person arrested after the police unlawfully enter still can be released on bail, he said, and has plenty of opportunities to protest the illegal entry through the court system. So there's no damage, no harm done, essentially. Police can enter your home without a reason. You cannot resist. You cannot block them. You cannot say, listen, I'm not going to let you in because you don't have a warrant. But it's okay. There'll be no harm done. No harm done? At very least, what about your reputation? Your neighbors see them come into your house, You get arrested, even unnecessarily, unlawfully. They take you down. It hits the newspapers, the radio. Doc Thompson arrested at his home, blah, blah, blah. There are many people that may never hear the rest of the story, that the police were wrong. Your reputation is automatically damaged. What about your family? What about your kids? Daddy taken away? That can scar a kid. But it's okay, I guess, 3 weeks down the road or a month down the road if you say, oh, see, they screwed up, kids. That image of them dragging you out of the house at 3 a.m. in front of your kids when you're in your PJs, they're never going to have that back. But the Indiana Supreme Court said, that's okay. You could take care of it down the road. In the dissent, Justice Robert Rucker and Gary Native, Gary Native, rather, and Justice Brent Dickinson, a Hobart native, they said, in our view, the majority sweeps too far, too broad a brush by essentially telling Indiana citizens that government agents may now enter their homes illegally. That is, without the necessity of a warrant, consent, or extenuating circumstances. He's right. Essentially, the majority ruled that they can enter your home and it'll all be worked out later, taking no consideration for the damage that is done. I mean, the broad brush is pretty big anyways. All kinds of unintended consequences going to pop up and legal challenges based on that. But just the assumption that them coming into your house against your will without a warrant, without probable cause, for no reason at all, that there is no damage done that can't be fixed by you being arrested, out on bail, and going to court, is incredible. Doc Thompson, 700 WLW. Fox 19 Storm Tracker forecast for meteorologist Frank Marzullo. Cloudy skies, cool this afternoon. Could see some rain, high around 54. Again, passing showers tonight, high 48. Warmer tomorrow, thank golly. Still could see some rain, high around 61. 45 right now at 700 WLW. This Supreme Court ruling in Indiana sets a very odd precedent. I would hope that someone continues to challenge this and it'll eventually get overturned. The idea from the Supreme Court justices who voted in the majority is really, really telling. I think it tells something about them. It tells something about them that they wouldn't see potential problems and the overall wrong attitude that a police officer could come into your home for no reason at all, but it would all be sorted out later. They don't see the issue there. Think of all the world of problems. What is blocking their way? What could be considered blocking them? Well, if you do block them, you would be arrested. That's the whole point of this. If a police officer shows up now at your house in Indiana and they just walk in, they don't have to knock. You don't have to be home. You don't have to be decent. I mean, you don't have to have your clothes on. You could be doing anything that you would do in your home. You could be having sex. You could be naked. You could be worshiping. You could be doing anything that you hold private in your home. And a police officer with no probable cause, no warrant, and no reason for going in there could just walk in. No knocking, no warning, no reason. But don't worry, it'll all be sorted out later. That's not a problem. Would these justices like the police to simply walk into their home when they're having sex or doing something else? Probably not, but the attitude is, don't worry, that would never happen, of course. No, that's the reason we have rules and laws like this, because these things do happen. Now, what if you get a police officer who happens to be crooked, wrong, a bad cop? Those things do happen. They just walk in the house. He doesn't even now have to argue probable cause. He doesn't have to do that. Don't worry, it'll be worked out later. What if you seemingly block their entrance? Well, what if you do something that is kind of borderline? What if your dog sees them as a threat and attacks a police officer? You're in your home, minding your own business, drinking a beer, sitting in front of the fire, maybe snuggling with a significant other. A cop bursts in your door. Your dog gets up and attacks them. Is that considered blocking? Did you not call your dog off soon enough? Well, first of all, if they walk into your house, I'll bet you're pretty stunned. Even if you now know in Indiana that they can do this, you're probably going to be stunned. You're sitting in your boxers or something, relaxing. You're vulnerable when you're in your home. You might be stunned. You might react the wrong way yourself. Throw something at them. Run, lock a door, pull out a gun. They don't knock, they just bust in. Your dog. What about one of your kids? They react in a defensive posture, which could take on an offensive posture. Now, they're arrested because of this Supreme Court ruling. The whole idea of being at your home is that your home should be a safe, secure, private place. Because that's where you're supposed to be able to let your guard down a little bit. Where you hold and keep your most sacred items and activities. Your family, pets and loved ones, information. This is the place where you sleep. How vulnerable are you when you sleep? That's the reason we make it sacred. Alarms, locks, castle doctrines, dogs that protect. Protect people while they are in this little sanctuary. That's what it's supposed to be, a sanctuary, to protect those people in it and those things in it as much as possible. By saying that police officers now can simply walk in, sets a dangerous precedent, and I hope somebody challenges it. I hope it does not end there. I think it's pretty telling, though, that the judge, the people who voted, the justices that voted in the majority, what their attitude is. They know best. That happens a lot with elected servants and people that end up as judges. Quite often, they know best. They know what's right. We'll work it out in the end. You just go back to what you're doing, you stupid, stupid people. You're part of the masses. You don't know better. You don't have rights. This is a major violation of privacy. The people who voted in the dissent, I applaud you. You were smart to do it. 3-2 loss. Hopefully it continues to be challenged. According to a professor at Valparaiso University Law School, he said it's not surprising that they say there's no right to beat the hell out of an officer. The court is saying we would rather opt on the side of saying if the police act wrongfully in entering your home, your remedy is under the law to bring a civil action against the officer. See, this stems from a case when police officers tried to enter a home and a guy blocked their way, pushed a police officer, and then he got locked up. They didn't have a warrant or probable cause in that case. They say you cannot block the officer's way. Blocks don't matter to police officers now. It's Doc Thompson, 700 WLW. Doc Thompson on 700 WLW. Coming up today at 11:06, 11:06, wacky warning labels. We live in a very litigious society. People suing all kinds of things. You know, one of the most famous lawsuits, the McDonald's coffee in the lap, the hot coffee from New Mexico back in the early 90s. People sue over all kinds of stuff. And because of outrageous, frivolous lawsuits like that, it has prompted makers of all kinds of products, just about everything you buy, to have warning labels. Some very obvious, ridiculous labels. And we have the winners of this year's wacky warning label contest coming up at 11:06. Couple flagged down police, West Price Hill, Saturday. Amy and Steven Springer. I would say that's ironic or apropos. Amy and Steven Springer, both 26 of Cleves. They flagged down police officers saying that they were robbed. Robbed at gunpoint early Saturday evening. Police officers noticed that, there are some Percocet pills on them. That's when Amy admitted that the pills were hers. And that they were robbed on their way to purchase drugs with their 3 kids in tow. Their kids ages 6, 4, and 2. They went with mom and dad to buy some drugs. And when they got robbed, what do? Of course, you call the police. Yeah, the police weren't very sympathetic, though. Can you believe that? They actually arrested these 2. Here are people who were robbed. Sure, they were going to buy drugs, but they were robbed. And they did the right thing. No, they didn't leave the kids at home alone by themselves. They took the kids with them. Teaching the kids valuable lessons like commerce. Teaching them business. And now because they're arrested, they get to teach them all about the legal system. How police officers act. Maybe the kids want to grow up to be a cop someday or a drug dealer. They're preparing these kids for their future. You take them with you on the drug deal. You don't leave them at home. And now what are they teaching these kids? That when robbed, you can't even tell the police. It's a shame these loving, caring parents, Amy and Steven Springer of Cleves, trying to do the right things, have no justice. Very sad. Sad indeed. Peter Hamilton, you're on 700 WLW.
Yes, in reference to your Indiana police no entry or legal entry, no matter what cost. I'm a private investigator. Let's say I'm doing a workers' comp. By the way, loved you back with Lanigan and Malone.
Oh, okay. You're from Cleveland Way. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, but whenever I did surveillance, I always tuned you guys in.
Oh, okay.
Tremendous show. But I'm a private investigator. Let's say you claim you're in a wheelchair bound forever. And you go inside your house and your curtains are pulled back in your picture window and you get up and dance a jig. I can't shoot that. The house is considered a zone of privacy. And I just can't believe that this has been legalized in Indiana.
It's shocking because what they're saying is that police may still be wrong, Peter, for coming into your home, but you cannot block them. So in other words, it used to be you would say, hey, do you have a warrant? Okay, then I'm not letting you in. You shut the door and you go about your business. But the Supreme Court justices in Indiana are saying, well, that could lead to escalating violence. Well, the police are also people who could escalate that violence. It's not just on the part of the homeowner. And as soon as you give up that zone of privacy, man, a lot of bad things are coming. Do you still investigate? Hello, Peter. Are you still there? I think I lost him there. We had some more calls coming up. Wacky warning labels 1106 700 WLW. Doc Thompson 700 WLW. Thanks to Chili Rick and Gold Star Chili for dropping off lunch for the crew today. Feel the burn with their hot Met cheese conies. Just $1.79. Wicked spicy Met chili, Gold Star's own tongue-tasting firehouse sauce, all topped with jalapeno cheese. And then some jalapenos on top. It's Gold Star Chili, the flavor of Cincinnati. I got to the hot Met chili conies, very tasty. He brought some up a couple of weeks ago. I'm supposed to bring up some today. Well, they're for a limited time, so I'm not going to have them, in a month or so from now. You got to get your fill while you can. I was hoping Chili would bring some of those today. It's all good. You just got to get I got to get my fill before they stop making them. Limited time offer. What's really interesting about this rule by the Supreme Court in Indiana, we keep getting conflicting ideas, attitudes from courts and lawmakers and basically any elected servant in office. What is the role of police? Protect and serve? How far does that protecting go? We've had rulings over the years that it is not the police's responsibility to protect you. In other words, you can't sue the police if something goes wrong, if somebody robs you or robs your house. You can't say, hey, well, they were supposed to keep me safe. So our expectation of police protecting us very limited. So we got to protect ourselves. To a certain degree, it is our responsibility to protect ourselves. I think that's a fine attitude. You don't have to go around looking for trouble. You don't have to go around causing problems. But having that ability to protect yourself and protecting yourself when needed is a good thing. And I would say if a police officer comes to my door and tells me they're coming in or just walks in, I'm going to stop them because they have no reason to be there. You tell me what the probable cause is. You show me a warrant. If nothing's going on, I'm sorry. I'm going to lock the door. Ruling or not, if I lived in Indiana, I stay in Indiana, that's what's going to happen still. Now, I may be arrested, but that's what's going to happen. I may be the challenge down the road. I believe protecting yourself and taking that responsibility is a good thing. That's part of the reason I think that the concealed carry in bars and restaurants and everywhere in Ohio is a good thing. We had the House of Representatives and General Assembly pass their version last week, and it's expected to be signed by the governor, and that's a good thing. What, do you want to be sheep? Is that what you want? To just go about your life, la, 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 expecting everybody else to get out of your way and serve you and take care of you and provide for you, to do for you? How about doing for yourself? And I think protection is part of that. Go into the bar, go into the restaurant, live your life. Protect yourself. We have gone gun crazy in America. I was reading the blogs online, the people about the concealed carry in Ohio. Oh my gosh, the anti-gun nuts, the gunophobes, yes, the gunnists, the gunophobes, they have gone crazy about this. This fear of a tool is incredible. Are you concerned if people carry rolls of quarters in their pockets? Are you concerned if somebody has a pocket knife, if they have a pen? Anything can be used as a weapon. Are you concerned about those things? But if it's a gun, people go crazy. It is a tool. If I have a screwdriver in my pocket, I'm doing work at home. I don't know if you do work around the house. If I'm doing something and I have a screwdriver and maybe a hammer or something, it's a small job. I don't break out the tool belt or whatever. As I'm doing it, I'll just slip the screwdriver in my back pocket. Finish what I'm doing, wire in the socket or whatever. Sometimes it's in the pocket. I'll go and watch TV then, forget to take it out. Later that night, I empty my pockets. Oh, I still got that screwdriver there. Let's say I decided to head out to, watch the Reds or something with a buddy down at a bar. I may have that screwdriver in my pocket, a concealed screwdriver. Are you flipping out because of that? But the fear of the people online because it's a gun is incredible. The fear. Well, it's concealed. It is a tool, just like a screwdriver. It's called being prepared. I had a guy email me last week saying you're just trying to, you say that people are emotional, they're emos, and that they're not logical. It's fear and emotion based. So that's what you are with guns, saying that somebody may threaten you and you need a gun to protect yourself. No, that's not fear based. That's trying to prevent being afraid. It's called being prepared. Having a concealed weapon is being prepared. Being prepared, albeit on the off chance that something happens, but it's being prepared. Do you lock your doors at home? Why? Isn't that just being prepared? You lock your doors. You try to prevent something from happening. How many homes are actually broken into? By percentage, it's a relatively low number. But do you still lock your doors? Do you lock your car? Odds are it's not going to be broken into or stolen. Why do you lock them? Is it foolproof? No. Can people still steal it? Yeah. Can bad things go wrong if they still try to break into your home or steal your car when you lock the doors? Yep. Could drunks do it? Uh-huh. Could it escalate into a much more violent situation if you lock your doors and somebody still breaks in? Yeah, all of those things. Isn't that just being prepared? Do you have a spare tire in your car? Why? Odds are, if you get in your car right now and drive to work, drive down to 7-Eleven or some other place, are you going to get a flat tire? Probably not. It's relatively low. But it could happen, and it does happen. You still have a spare tire, don't you? You have a concealed spare tire in your car, driving around with that weapon? What about the jack that's used to jack up the car? Those things can be used as a weapon. They have been. A tire iron? Of course you can use that as a weapon. And it has been used to kill. And there you are, driving around with these concealed weapons in your car. And what is your motivation? Fear? Probably not. Your motivation is probably being prepared. Doc Thompson on the big one, 700 WLW. Doc Thompson on 700 WLW. I do like my practical jokes. Nick and Mason, you're on the big one.
Hey, Doc, how are you today?
How are you, sir?
Good. I tuned in a little bit late, so I want to make sure I'm clear. I do agree with you. I think the Indiana law is unconstitutional and very bad. But it sounded towards the tail end when you were going on your rant, when you were comparing having a spare tire in your trunk to having a gun in a bar. Are you saying you're all for the conceal and carrying of guns in bars and sporting events, etc.?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, well, the reason you would have a spare tire is in case you get a flat tire.
Right.
Why would you need a gun in a bar in case what would happen?
In case something happens where you are threatened or vulnerable. Somebody, whatever, that threatens harm.
So you think where there's an alcohol-fueled crowd, say, at a Bengals game, and there's Steelers fans wearing Steelers jerseys, that it would be a good idea to have several hundred people with a gun on them?
First of all, there are people with guns on them anyway, number one. And can you do harm already without having a gun while drunk?
It's tough to kill someone.
It's not tough to kill somebody. And is death the only thing you're worried about with the gun? It's okay if people are injured as long as they're not killed?
Well, I mean, very few people are beaten to death by fists and bricks and
We had
bottles.
a guy at a ball game out west. Where was that? Out
LA,
west, a guy. Yeah, L.A.
Yeah,
Did they use a gun?
No, I'm saying it can happen, obviously, but I think if there were guns,
No, Nick, that's
alcohol,
just
you're going to have
Nick.
more problems.
First of all, you can't drink under the law. If you're carrying concealed in a bar or restaurant, you can't drink. So it's done. The argument's done.
Drive either, but people do that.
Well, I know, but people can still right now carry with even without the concealed carry. So if you want to play that, you can say people could take it in right now and drink, and you'd never know. The point is, the law says you cannot do that, and you can still injure somebody, as evident by that case out of Los Angeles. The guy's been in a coma ever since. They're still looking for the guys.
It can happen, but I'm just saying I think the odds of more bad things happening would escalate.
Nick, that's just an unnatural gun fear that has been planted in your head for all these years. It is just a tool. That's all it is. It is just a tool. It's not going off by itself. It's not going to randomly shoot people. You have an unnatural fear. Somebody must pull the trigger. It's not going off. And that somebody that can pull the trigger, they could easily do you harm many other way. Ball games, you can sneak stuff in if you wanted to. Los Angeles, a guy gets beat almost to death, has been in a coma. There was no gun. There was no other weapon. They used their fists. What is this fear? People drink it at the ball games. You get into a Steelers fan. Come on. That seed has been planted in your head by the gunophobes. It is an unnatural fear of a tool. Doc Thompson on the home of the Reds, 700 WLW.